All right. All right. Oh, man. So we're back here again. This is kind of the, I guess, the part two to our previous conversation about how, you know, some religious people are just a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, just a straight up joke. As always, I always start this off reminding everybody that this podcast is not designed for kids. We got a lot of explicit language and some controversial subjects. So if you've got kids in the room, go ahead and tell them to get out of there. Unless you want them to grow up with some common sense. Otherwise, go ahead and send them off. So, you know, the more that I think about all this kind of stuff, I mean, it really kind of upsets me, right? I mean, it really kind of gets on my last nerve.
Yeah.
And, you know, these podcasts are not designed to insult anybody. They're not designed to you know, cause any type of a revolution. It really is just me trying to throw some common sense out there.
Yeah. And
trying to get people to think outside of the box a little bit.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've always kind of talked about, and I wrote about this in my book too, my entire mantra is really about the emasculation of the American man.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of what has done some of that emasculation is the religious systems that we have that kind of tame men down, right? This idea that men need to be gentle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The gentlemen,
yeah.
Right? And literally, I don't think a lot of people actually understand the meaning of that word. It's kind of like the difference between a peaceful man and a harmless man.
Yeah.
Right? A gentleman really, literally refers to men who are gentle, right? It's a British term that they started using, you know, however many hundred years ago to describe more of an aristocratic type of man, right? Not the barbarian hunter that needs to, you know, grow beards and grow his hair out and shit like that. It refers to the man that's more modernized and more metro and more, you know, it's a gentle man.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of religion really puts this into people's minds that men are supposed to be these meek, you know, respectful, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's done a very big disservice to people in this country, because I really do think that that's where it kind of stems from.
I think you're 100% right there. I mean, as like a friend of mine, she is going to be a diesel mechanic.
Yeah.
And the guy that she was dating at the time, they had a flat on the side of the road. He couldn't even change it.
Well, that's a fact.
I mean, that's pretty shitty when you get to that, where a girl has to get out and change a flat tire. I mean, that's pretty low on the book.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, that's a good point. That's actually
an
excellent point, is because, you know, over the generations, men have become less and less manly. They become more gentle. And this is the whole reason why we have women that are now becoming more masculine and, you know, doing the things that men should be doing. They're doing it in the absence of real men. So one of the things that I like to talk about is the sheep, the shepherds, and the wolves.
Yeah.
And a lot of people misunderstand this. Here again, this is a biblical thing, right? They talk about this in the Bible. You know, the shepherd tending his flock, right? Or the shepherd tending his herd.
Yep.
And they talk about this, and they make it sound like these shepherds are supposed to be these extravagant leaders who are protecting their herds and this kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, I've come to conclude that the mass majority of people out there are the sheep, right? They need to be led. They don't have whatever it takes to actually be, you know, self-reliant and self-sufficient and to be that hunter and to be that provider. The mass majority of people out there just don't have it, right? Whether it's based on intelligence or whether it's based on upbringing or whatever the case may be, the mass majority of people out there don't have the ability to think for themselves.
Yeah.
So they have to have charismatic people, they're shepherds,
Yeah.
telling them how to live, right? They have to have people guiding the herd
Yeah.
around. And so everybody looks at these shepherds as if they're some kind of, superheroes or something.
Yeah.
But to me, all it is it's people that have learned how to capitalize off of other people's weaknesses, right? Off of other people's lack of intelligence or whatever the case may be.
Yep.
And I kind of touched on this in the last episode where, really these shepherds, they are these, they're the pastors and they're the ministers and they're they're the foremans at work and they're the business managers that are managing, that they're not the owners.
Yeah.
Right? But they're
higher.
Yeah,
they're higher up, but they're not.
They're higher up. They're in
the
leadership
owners.
positions, right? And this brings us to the wolves. And I have no problem admitting that I am a wolf.
Yeah.
Okay, the wolves are the ones who they're the ones that are out there actually doing. They're not just talking.
Yeah, they're making their own business.
They're making their own path.
Yep.
And here's the thing: everybody is, everybody's so afraid of a wolf, right? Where did we get this perception that a wolf is some kind of an evil animal?
Well, to me, the wolf is the one that picks out the smallest, weakest one out of the herd.
Right.
And where the perception really of the wolf come about, I really don't know. I mean, that's just a...
I mean, when we look at the domesticated dog,
Yeah.
that is a direct descendant of the wolf, right? That's man's best friend.
Man's best friend.
Right? Wolves have been known to protect animals. Wolves, obviously it's a pack animal. They travel in packs.
Yeah.
Normally. They have a patriarchy, right? They have an alpha wolf that leads that pack.
Right.
You could almost say that the beta wolves are almost more like the sheep,
Yeah.
right? I mean, they're following the lead of the alpha.
Yeah.
But wolves, not only are they incredibly intelligent, but they don't kill just for the fun of killing.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of animals out there that'll kill. A wolverine,
Yeah.
right? It will kill just for the pleasure of killing.
Yep.
But a wolf doesn't do that. A wolf will protect things that if it's not out there trying to eat or trying to feed its family, a wolf will protect other animals.
Yeah.
And the domesticated dog, being a direct descendant of that, is proof that the animal itself is not evil. Now, don't get me wrong. There's different kind of wolves, right?
Yeah.
You've got your lone wolf out there that sometimes gets a little crazy, and those are the ones that eat anything, and
Yeah.
they fight to fight. And, so I'm not saying that every wolf is a good wolf. But I'm saying that this perception of wolves is completely askew from what it should be.
Yeah.
Wolves are what give the sheep a reason to need a shepherd to begin with.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
If the shepherd wasn't trying to lead the flock or lead the herd,
Yeah.
without the wolf, there'd be no need for it.
Yeah.
So it's very amusing to me how trends go around and people get certain ideas in their heads. I've got no problem admitting that I'm a wolf.
Yeah.
I'm a doer. I'm not a talker.
It's like a big triangle. You've got to have one to have the other, if you ain't got the sheep, there's no use for the shepherd, and there'll be no use for the wolf.
Right.
Well,
here's the thing, though, and people have got to kind of think about this logically. Everything plays its own role in the world.
Yeah.
But if you don't have something to control everything else, and if all you've got is a bunch of sheep, eventually they're going to run into the problem where they don't have the right kind of leadership, and they're just going to expand and grow, and before you know it, the whole world's going to be full of stupid-ass sheep.
It's going to be complete, utter chaos.
Right. Right.
It's like, you can't have too many chiefs, but you got to have some Indians too, and people misunderstanding that somehow.
Well, and here again, I don't mean to try to talk negatively about anybody's religious beliefs. I really don't. I can tell you that one of the things that I take wholeheartedly is people's freedom to choose whatever religion they want to live.
Yeah.
As long as they're not trying to, you know, bomb buildings or some shit like that, I'm perfectly fine. I don't really care. It's a freedom that I truly believe is probably one of the most important freedoms we have.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's like the religion that I go along with or was raised in. I'll be the first one to talk crap about them because I know all their downfalls. You know? And there's not hardly anybody out there that's willing to do that. They don't want to talk bad about their religion that they were raised up with. You know?
Well, because there again, people have been raised to believe that theirs is the only true one. Yeah.
I hate to say the word brainwash, but it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not meaning to sound like a Jim Jones here or nothing, but I mean that's.
Well, that's a perfect example.
I mean, I'm not saying this crowd's quite ready to drink the Kool-Aid yet, but we're getting pretty damn close if we ain't careful.
Sure.
You know.
Well, and there again is you got a group of people that are led by a charismatic person.
Yeah.
And that person leads them off the cliff, and nobody's smart enough to start running the other way.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I saw a meme about this the other day where all of the sheep are running towards the cliff, and the one lone sheep that's running away, everybody's making fun of that one lone sheep.
Yeah.
As they're running off the cliff.
Yep. And that's a perfect example of, you know, of what we have today.
Yeah. The herd mentality, the sheep mentality.
Yeah.
It really is sad when you really look at it because so many people are so brainwashed.
Yeah.
They can't see daylight.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to is so many people that they're just not smart enough to find their own path in life.
That's what I was expecting to say. That's intelligent-based theory right there because a lot of folks they can't see the other side of the glass. You know.
Yeah.
They can't. Yeah. They can't look into a different religion if you want to, or you know, Pentecostal can't believe in Catholic or anything of that sort, you know, or whatever. Not hitting on Pentecostal or Catholic or anything, but I'm just saying they can't see from the other side. You know?
Well, I encourage people to search out and go to every religion out there.
Oh, definitely.
Go to a mosque, go to a synagogue, go to a Buddhist temple. You know, search out, research, read all of the literature, read the Quran, read the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
You know, read it all so that you can get a different perspective.
Yeah.
And see, but that's the problem right there. Is everybody's trapped into their own little circle. Birds of a feather flock together.
Right? Yeah.
This is what religion is. Religion, right? It goes back to that cult word.
Yep.
Right. We're like-minded people, and here again, people are products of their environment. So if they're raised into that, then they're automatically going to, you know, predominantly believe it.
Oh, yeah.
And people are afraid of getting out of their comfort zone, so they're afraid to explore other options. They're afraid to look in, you know, but I encourage people to absolutely go out and research it, read it, visit. I mean, you know, if you're a Christian, you're not going to get in trouble for going to a Buddhist temple.
No.
Right?
If it's not... More than likely, it's not going to change your outlook. But
well, it very well may. It changed mine.
It may. You know, it may. But here's the thing. If people, like you was talking about with your comfort zone, people do not, a lot of religions fit their lifestyle, too.
Well, that's a key point. That's a key point.
It fits their lifestyle of what they want to do. Yeah. You know, and that's why they stick with that religion, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's what it is right there, and this is where I say that birds of a feather flock together. People have learned to go with the things that suit their life or their belief system.
Yeah.
It's not them conforming to the religion so much as it is that the religion has conformed to them.
Yeah.
Right, and that's really what's going on. That's really what it's all about. You know, and you know, it's about networking. It's about having a support system. You know, everybody likes to be around people that are supportive and you know, family and all this kind of stuff. And you know, that's really what it's about. It's about that tight-knit community that everybody feels comfortable being around.
Yeah. Well, and my idea is instead of turning away from something, if I get a chance to go to a Buddhist synagogue or whatever. You know, it's like when I was telling you about when I went to a Quran reading. I went to a 3-night Quran reading, and I mean, I'm gonna tell you what, it was really something. I learned things that I did not know about it. Well, you know, and I'm not saying, you know, it's for everybody, but you know, that might be your thing. You know, and I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I mean, as long as you ain't out there trying to bomb someone, like you said, or shoot me or
you know,
whatever.
I mean, trust me, there's a lot of good Muslims out there. I mean, I think my biggest problem with Muslims is that they're never willing to stand up against other bad Muslims.
Yeah.
Right? If you've always noticed, like throughout history, like with Christianity, for example,
Yep.
if there's been a group of bad Christians that have been out there raping and pillaging, there's been other Christians that have stood up against it.
Yeah.
Right? And this is kind of, like the American Revolution.
Yeah.
Right? That was a Christian against Christian war.
Yeah.
Right? But Muslims aren't really doing that, and that's the problem that I have. With the exception of maybe like the Kurds and some people like that. But by and large, the Muslims don't stand up against their own people, and that's the problem that I have with it. But it's an excellent religion.
Yeah. Well, we're back to that term, masculinity here.
Right.
There's not very many of them that's willing to stand up against their own kind. you know?
Yeah.
And that's getting to be a problem,
Well, yeah, but I'll tell you, man, if there's one group of people out there that still believes in masculinity, it's Muslims.
Yeah.
Man, if they still, if they believe in traditional roles and masculine and feminine roles, it's Muslims, man. And I actually highly respect them for that, because they haven't. It's kind of like Amish people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really have a whole lot of respect for Amish people, but if I have one thing that I can say that I do respect about them, it's the fact that they still understand. They're not confused about which bathroom they should go to.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, for real.
They got that part nailed down
Right.
anyway.
Well, and it's because they still believe in those traditional, old-fashioned roles and values.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't say the biblical, but that's basically what it is. It's the biblical principles that kind of created great societies to begin with. And I might disagree with a lot of their ways and a lot of their practices, but that's one thing I do respect about them.
Well, I mean, that's why we have in this country the freedom of religion. If you want to believe the way you believe, you should believe that way.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be hated on or whatever for it. If I want to believe that the moon is made of green cheese, I should be able to believe it, same as you.
Yeah.
But there again, people's not willing to get out of their comfort zone to search and go in different ways.
So how do you foresee, I don't know if we've ever even talked about this or not, but how do you foresee, what do you think America's going to look like in 100 years?
I don't know that it's going to be here in 100 years.
Well, right, but I mean, that's kind of my point, like with how secular we become. I bet we're going to be here in 100 years. America's going to be America.
We'll probably technically will be here, but
yeah.
Man, I really, honestly, the way things have went in the last 40 years, let's say, probably longer than that if you will, but everything has been on a downhill spiral. And I was thinking about this last night. It kind of works in kind of a hill here.
Yeah.
We was building up during the 1800s.
Right.
And then we got on this kind of like plane off right here about 1910, 1920, the roaring 20s, if you will.
Right.
And ever since then, we've kind of been just kind of spilling off here downhill.
And I'll tell you, so right here at the top of this hill, so when you look at these Muslim countries, they're still at the bottom of the hill.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. And the reason is they're just coming up, they're just industrializing.
Yep.
Right? They're just getting their technologies.
Yep.
They still have control over their women.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, we got up to this point because we still had morals, we still had innovation, we still had self-reliance. But as soon as we got to the top, like I said, the 1920s, right? That's not a coincidence that's the same year that the 19th Amendment.
Right there. That's during the time that all that, the 16th Amendment started happening.
The 16th and the 19th
and
Amendment.
The 19th. Yeah. And I mean, just a lot of shit went on right during that time. And that's where we started slowly going downhill. And I mean, it's just getting worse. And I mean, where are we going to stop? We're a snowball going down the hill. Where are we going to stop?
Well, we're going to go all the way back down the hill.
We're going to go all the way back down the hill.
History always repeats itself, and this is not going to be any different. I don't know if it's even going to take 100 years. Hell, it might only take 20 more years for that to happen.
It might not even take that much.
People don't realize that it takes a lot longer to get up to the top of the hill than it does to get to the bottom of the hill, right? I mean, it took us hundreds of years to get to the top, but we can get down to the bottom in a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
And that's what people don't realize. And that's kind of my question with this, especially talking about religion and how secular our society's become.
Yeah.
Now here again, I don't follow any set religion.
Yeah.
I don't need to.
either. I mean, I'm willing to look at the other side of the glass.
Right. But religion is good for keeping societies intact. You know, to me, religion is nothing more like the Bible. I look at the Bible as an allegorical story. I don't look at the Bible as a written by God or anything like that. I believe that the Bible was written by humans.
Well, it was.
And I look at it as a long sociological study, basically of a group of men that were just trying to tell their societies how to achieve good standards. Yeah. So that everybody wasn't out raping and pillaging villages. Yeah. Right? I mean,
that's right.
It's literally just a moral book, a moral code, trying to tell people how to live their lives so that they can, be prosperous and enjoy freedom and that kind of thing. Yeah. And to me, that's it. That's what it is. So I think there's two sides of the coin. I think there's that one side that is so fanatically brainwashed over what they believe that they're not willing to look at any realistic or any scientific stuff. Yeah. And then there's the exact opposite side that is so liberal and so secular that they've forgotten all the morals all the way around.
Well, let me ask you this. Now, the people that's not willing to step out of their comfort zone or out of their religion, do you think it's a fear that they don't believe in their religion enough because they might be susceptible to change to a different religion?
Well, that's exactly what I think it is. I think one of the worst human emotions is fear.
Right.
Right. One of the worst human emotions is fear. There's so many different sub-emotions that come off of it. Jealousy and all kinds of different things stem from fear. Yeah. Right. And fear is truly our greatest crusher. Yeah. Now I'll give you an example of something that is just it scares people so badly. This is one thing I hate about religion. Yeah. That's the idea of revelations, right? The rapture. And, the rapture is not even based off of a single verse in Revelations. Right. The rapture is based off some other verse. I can't remember. One verse in the Bible. And all of a sudden this idea of the rapture came up. And people are so afraid. Now, to me, it was a fear tactic from the very beginning. To me, it was a fear... It was a tactic used by a Catholic priest, by the way, who created the idea of the rapture, not based off of Revelations, but based off of another verse out of some other book in the Bible. Yeah. And I'll research that and find out where it's at, but it's basically where the trumpets sound and the earth shatters and whatever, And anyway, people have spent their entire lives being so afraid of the book of Revelations and the rapture and all this other crap that they have literally cocooned themselves up into a position of not living almost. Yeah. Because they're almost too afraid to even...
They can't even leave their house without being in a piss and fear.
Well, let's look at this whole coronavirus thing.
There,
right. Let's look at that. Now,
something that's been around for probably hundreds of years.
Thousands of
years.
It's a common cold.
And I looked it up. When this first come out, I've got a 1986 copyright edition of Webster's Medical Dictionary. Yep. I looked it up, and it was in there, and all it is a base off the flu. It's been around, I know since 1986 anyway. Yeah. And I mean,
well, that's COVID-19, but COVID, like I said, SARS. Yeah. SARS is a version of COVID, and shit.
It's 10 times worse.
10 times deadlier. We didn't shut down the whole world. No. But here's the thing. So COVID has become the new world religion. Yeah. Right. Half the world believes in it, and half the world doesn't. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's literally it's no different than Christianity or Islam. Yeah. Except instead of believing in God, people are believing in the government. Right. Yeah. The government has become their God. Yeah. And Pfizer and Moderna have become Jesus Christ and the Holy Ghost, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, but here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about it. People, if they truly believed in God, and if they truly believed in God's plan, then they wouldn't be trying.
Wouldn't be feared.
They wouldn't be afraid
worried about it.
Exactly.
And it's kind of odd though. Have you noticed? I'm not meaning to get into politics, but every 4 years around election time, we've had some kind of like Ebola, swine flu.
Well, SARS, right?
SARS,
yeah, exactly.
COVID-19.
Exactly.
Is that not odd how that happens? And it puts people into a panic about that.
Well, it's not odd, but here again, if people truly had any common sense whatsoever, they would look at all of this information and they'd say, damn, there's nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah, they'd be
Right.
smart enough to be outliers and say, no, I'm not going to wear your mask.
It's these same people that say, if God's will be done,
Yeah.
right? It's these same people saying God's controlling everything we do that
Yeah.
are saying, oh, we got to vaccinate and wear a mask.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that goes against God's plan. That's man trying to take the place of God.
Yeah.
But yet these people, fear is the worst emotion that you can have.
By far.
It is I'm telling you, man, it is the single thing that has destroyed societies.
Yeah.
And when you live in fear like that, you're basically, you're in prison. Basically, you're not free,
Yeah.
right? You don't believe in God, and it's a truly sad, pathetic existence. It really is.
It is. I mean, if you lived every day in fear, I mean, you couldn't go out and enjoy yourself. You couldn't go to work without being in fear. And people.
Well, look at how many people are not going to work.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why we're seeing grocery stores without shit on the shelves.
Yeah.
You know? And that's
Yeah.
why you can't get nothing for 6 damn months.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's stupid.
I mean,
mean-
shit. Diesel this morning was $3.69,
Fuck.
right? Just literally.
I mean, I've not seen gas for under $3 a gallon anywhere
No.
here in Atlanta.
No, I mean,
mean-
but that's the point. If these people truly believed in God, and if they truly believed in God's plan, then they wouldn't be afraid.
They wouldn't be worried about what someone has
How do
to say
they
on TV.
right?
You know?
How do they know that this isn't God's rapture plan?
They could be. They don't know that. You know, they don't think about it. You know, they're in fear of what people tell them. Oh, coronavirus is one of the deadliest diseases.
Yeah.
Fuck no, it ain't.
No.
99.7%.
Oh yeah, it's got less
chance
than a
of
1%.
survival.
Yeah,
Man.
it's got less than a 1%
Hell, and that's
mortality
for-
rate.
that's for
Oh,
the
man,
older people.
let me put it to you this way: if you're younger than 55 and white,
Yeah.
okay, you have a 10 times. Okay, so if you're younger than 55, you've got a greater chance of being killed by a lightning strike.
Yeah.
If you're younger than 55 and white, you
Yeah.
have a 10 times greater chance of being killed by a lightning strike
Yeah.
than you do of dying from COVID-19.
Yeah.
Do you know anybody who's died from a lightning strike?
Nope.
I don't. Now, I know several people. My dad supposedly died from COVID-19.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine that went to school with me that he died of COVID-19. But here's the thing, though.
What was his pre-existing condition?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
He had a lot of conditions that was, you know, an excess of that.
Well,
And
my dad
he-
didn't die from COVID-19. He died from a fucking massive heart attack.
Yeah, I'm
But,
going to say,
you know.
well, there for a while, you get to look at it like this right here. How many folks, where's the flu at? You know,
Yeah, where's the flu?
Have you heard of anybody dying from cancer or heart attack
No,
or any
no,
of that shit
no.
lately? No, it's all been COVID-19.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a great point, though.
Yeah,
you know,
we
people.
talked about that for a while.
Yeah, well, and we're out of time again already, but we're going to make another episode for, you know, like a part 3 to this or something like that. But,
Yeah.
you know, today, I mean, if everybody noticed, my chicken coop is done, so I'm getting ready to do some episodes about, you know, being a little bit more self-reliant and self-sufficient and stuff. I want people to start thinking about this shit, man. Stop being so afraid. Get the fuck out of your comfort zones and actually look at things through a realistic view, man. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Go check some shit out.
Yeah.
Quit being afraid of it.
I mean,
you know.
for the love of all things holy, man, you're ruining our country because of your fear and because of your ignorance. And that's all I'm saying, man. I mean, I'm not, you know, that's all I'm saying. But
Yeah.
anyway, good talk. Man, we got some good things coming up.
Yeah.
We got some good things coming up, so we'll get at it.